live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio 1 o'clock news. First, here are the headlines. The Army spokesperson has confirmed the commission of Mayom County in Unity State and some of his bodyguards have been assassinated. Police in northern Bahr el Ghazal State, Awil Town, have detained 2 foreign teachers for allegedly attempting to defile a 16-year-old girl on Monday. And the National Transitional Committee is urging the Ministry of Finance and Planning to release more than $14 million for the graduation of necessary unified forces. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Lugala Mulai, and now the news in detail. The Army spokesperson has confirmed the commission of Mayom County in Unity State and some of his bodyguards have been assassinated. General Lul Roy Kwang has said Mayom Chol Gatluak Manime was attacked by armed men at his residence at 2 a.m. He spoke to iRadio a few minutes ago.
Yes, that's correct. I can confirm to you that on the 22nd of July at around 2 a.m., some outlaws loyal to Renegade General Stephen Boy Rolnyang assassinated the Commissioner of Mayom County, Honorable James Wall Galwak. Now, the information I'm getting is that he was killed with some of his bodyguards and another family members, but the exact identity. Well, since the responsibility was claimed by rebels loyal to Stephen Boy, and then we are assuming that it was politically motivated. But it was very unfortunate that instead of them targeting military positions, they chose honorable.
In a statement seen by iRadio and social media, the South Sudan People's Movement Army, led by General Stephen Boy Rolnyang, claimed responsibility for the attack. The statement cited General Boy as saying his forces attacked Mayom County at around 3 a.m. local time after SSPDF killed one of their soldiers yesterday. However, General Boy's statement didn't mention how many people were killed during the attack. Police in northern Bahr el Ghazal's Awil Town have detained 2 foreign teachers for allegedly attempting to defile a 16-year-old girl on Monday. The 2 suspects have been identified as 30-years-old Philip Katende and Henrik Iseko at 34. According to a post on the official Facebook page of the state police, the first suspect, Henry Iseko, attempted to assault the underage girl on the 1st of July at Maper West, but the matter was resolved at the family level. However, 2 weeks later, his colleague Philip Katende made similar attempts, prompting the teen girl to press the mother to report the case to the police. The 2 men residing in the same compound with the girl were then handcuffed and thrown into jail. Awil Central Police Commissioner Philip Madu Tong told iRadio last evening that the suspects are still under investigation.
People are now under investigation in the police station that the complaint is open a case and that they are now in the police station. And that the complaint said that they attempt to rape the small child. They are living in the same compound with that family. That they say in primary, born just 2 days ago.
The 16-year-old girl is said to be in primary school in Awil Town. The National Transitional Committee is urging the Minister of Finance and Planning to release more than $14 million for the graduation of the necessary unified forces. The amount it says will also cover the deployment of the forces integration and enable the graduation of the second batch. The National Transitional Committee, or NTC, is a body charged with supervising implementation of the 2018 Revitalized Peace Deal. In June last year, President Salva Kiir and his deputies instructed Tut Gatluak, who heads up the National Transitional Committee, to accelerate the process of graduating the unified forces and developing a unified command. There are thousands of SSPDF, SPLA-IO and opposition alliance groups at various training camps across the country. They have been at the cantonment sites for nearly 2 years, with some choosing to leave the camps over lack of food, shelter and medication. The government claims it does not have weapons to give the unified forces. It also claimed that it does not have the necessary funds for logistics. About 53,000 forces are expected to graduate from the training camps. They include the Army, Police and National Security, among others. The Revitalized Peace Agreement expects the unified forces to be 83,000. The National Transitional Committee is urging the Finance Ministry to release the required amount to expedite implementation of the security arrangement. Stephen Parkwall is the Minister of Peace Building and a member of the National Transitional Committee. He said the NTC convened an emerged board meeting last month to reiterate its call for the release of the amount. Parkwall spoke in Juba yesterday during the 23rd plenary meeting of the Peace Monitoring Body RJMEC.
During the deliberation, the board noted and recognized an intended delayment of the graduation of the necessary unified forces due to shortage of funding. The board resolved to urge the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning to immediately release the required funds for graduation of forces, deployment of DDR, and the phase 2 of the necessary unified forces. The NTC would like to report that it has submitted a budget of $14,430,928 million to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning to expedite the implementation of the remaining critical tasks and activities. The requested budget covered the graduation, deployment, DDR integration program, screening of forces, and the funding of phase 2. The NTC urged the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning.
So tomorrow we will be in business to receive the contributions.
The graduation of the necessary unified forces have been postponed several times due to lack of funds, but observers call it lack of political will, given the millions of dollars the government offered the National Transitional Committee. Last week, President Salva Kiir said the presidency should soon pick a date for graduation of the necessary unified forces. You are listening to iRadio News. Political parties are expected to submit their contribution to the SPLM-IG proposed roadmap for the end of the transitional period, according to the Cabinet Affairs Minister. Dr. Elia Lomoro says the presidency held an extraordinary meeting yesterday to seek views of the leaders of other parties to the agreement and the roadmap presented to President Salva Kiir over the weekend. The proposal was presented last Friday by Presidential Advisor Tutgat Luak Manime, Foreign Minister Maika Ideng, Information Minister Michael Makuye-Luet, and Cabinet Affairs Minister Dr. Martin Elia Lomoro. The team said the road will guide the country towards the end of the transitional period and pave the way for peaceful, credible elections. It also sets targets for implementation of the security arrangements and the expected graduation of the unified forces. In reaction, the SPLM-IO of Dr. Riek Machar and National Democratic Movement, led by Dr. Lama Kola Jawin, criticized the roadmap, saying the document did not represent their views. Both parties said they were not consulted in the process and described the move as a one-party initiative. In his remarks following the Thursday meeting, Dr. Elia Lomoro admitted that the other signatories to agreement did not participate in the development of the roadmap. However, he said the leaders of the peace parties agreed to forward their contribution to the roadmap on Friday.
Tomorrow we will be in business to receive the contributions of the other parties to the agreement who did not participate in the development of the roadmap, and their representatives will be here tomorrow at 10 to ensure that they all bring their contribution, and we sit as a team to finish the document. And then a process is also agreed as to what happens after the representatives of the parties to the agreement have discussed, have incorporated their contributions, and then we will tell the public what is the next step.
The views will then be incorporated into the document to be discussed in the next meeting. The peace parties are left with less than 8 months to end the transitional period. According to the Cabinet Affairs Ministers, the roadmap sets the time frame for implementing the remaining tasks of the agreement.
We are delighted. The President is very happy with the cooperation of the partners to the agreement, with their vision and their comments on the roadmap. I know the roadmap has been a matter of serious concern in many spheres. The public, the parties to the agreement, our partners have been concerned, but now, today, the concerns are alleviated by the fact that there was no difference of opinion in the details of the roadmap.
On Wednesday, the executive director of the Community Empowerment for Progress organization, Edmond Yakani, said the country is not yet ready for elections, citing lack of conducive environment. Finally, before moving to stories making headlines in the region and the international scene, President Salva Kiir has withheld the implementation of the fiscal budget of the year 2022-2023 for 3 months. This year's approved annual budget is to the tune of 1.3 trillion South Sudanese pounds. The country's fiscal budget starts on July 1st annually. However, in an order read on the state-owned TV SSBC Thursday evening, President Salva Kiir extended last year's budget until the end of September. Mr. Kiir was cited as saying the delay is to enable the Minister of Finance to meet previous essential government obligations, including salaries, operation costs, peace-related matters, as well as COVID-19 interventions. However, over the years, the government had deliberately passed supplementary budgets to fund its activities, except in 2021-2022, when it approved £338 billion. You are listening to iRadio News. Now to stories making headlines in the region and the international scene, brought to you by MTN. Here is Doru Penina.
You're welcome for the international news with me, Doru Penina. There has been heavy gunfire at the main military base near the Malian capital, Bamako. Helicopters have been cycling overhead, and there are reports that a convoy carrying the country's military leader, Colonel Assimi, sped away from the area towards the capital. Witnesses said the gunfire lasted about an hour. It is not clear who was behind the violence, and the military-led government has so far not commented on the incident. Elsewhere, Kenya's electoral body has expressed concern over the arrest and detention of 3 contractors involved in the deployment and management of election technology. In a statement, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission said that employees of Smartmatic International BV were arrested at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in the capital, Nairobi, on arrival from Venezuela. It terms their detention without justification as an exhibition of intimidation on hard-working persons who are only keen to deliver a robust technology infrastructure. And finally, Turkey says a deal has been reached with Russia to allow Ukraine to resume exports of grain through the Black Sea. It is to be signed on Friday in Istanbul by Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, and UN Secretary General Antonio. The world shortage of Ukrainian grain since Russia's 24th February invasion has left left millions at risk of hunger. The invasion sent food prices soaring, so the deal to unblock Ukraine's ports is crucial. Some 20 million tons of grain is stuck in silos in Odessa. I am Doru Penina, and back to you, my colleague in the studio.
That was Doru Penina with news making headlines in the region and the international scene. Now to the world of sports with Emmanuel Joseph Akile Lodom.
We begin with Africa, where Senegal's Sadio Mane was crowned African Footballer of the Year for the second time running at the Confederation of African Football or CAF award ceremony in the Moroccan capital, Rabat. Mane scored the winning penalty as Senegal beat Egypt in a shootout in this year's Africa Cup of Nations final to lift the trophy for the first time. The awards returned for the first time in 3 years after being suspended by the coronavirus pandemic, with Nigeria's Asisat Oshoala also retaining the title she won in 2019. Mane beat compatriot and Chelsea goalkeeper Edward Mendy, as well as former Liverpool teammate Mohamed Salah, whose Egypt side lost February's final. Mane's prize was one of the 5 picked up by Senegal in a total of 7 men's categories after a night to remember for the West African nation. Southampton have reached an agreement to sign French forward Sekou Mara, the Premier League club said on Thursday. The fee was not disclosed, but British media reported it was around 13 million euros. Mara, 19, played 27 games and scored 6 goals for Bordeaux last season, but could not stop them from being relegated to France League 2. And finally, Noah Lyles retained his World Cup 200 meters title in emphatic fashion, beating Kenny and Knighton in another American clip sweep and breaking Michael Johnson's 26-year-old national record. The race had been built as a duel between Lyles and 18-year-old sensation Knighton, but Lyles was in a class of his own, running an exceptional bend before powering home in 19.31 seconds. His time is 100th of a second better than U.S. legend Johnson ran at the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. That's all from the world of sports, and back to you, Lugala Mulai.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Joseph Akile, and for taking us through the world of sports. And you are listening to our radio news. To end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The Army spokesperson has confirmed the commission of Mayom County in Unity State and some of his bodyguards have been assassinated. Police in Northern Baral Ghazal's Awil town has detained 2 foreign teachers for allegedly attempting to defile a 16-year-old on Monday. And the National Transitional Committee is urging the Ministry of Finance and Planning to release more than $14 million for the graduation of the necessary unified forces. That is the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I had been Lugala Mulai. Thanks for listening. Oriata